I try to tell y'all, all these bus riders, they don't mean nothing to me. If you ain't driving the bus, don't walk around talking about you're a champion. If you riding the bus, I don't want to hear it. Okay? Come on, Shaq, tell them. All these guys walk around with these championship rings. Hey, y'all bus riders. But let me tell you something.
2 in a row, Chuck.
When you the bus driver and you got all that pressure where you have to play well or you're going to get the blame, that's a different animal.
Deficit is 4. Durant pulls a 3. Missed it. Jokic, 32 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. Jamal Murray, 26 points, 10 to shoot. Edwards. Oh, Edwards!
KD moving from the Suns to the Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall pick.
Durant thought he was going to draw the foul. Durant looking for help. Şengün doesn't find it.
When you look at this 4 versus 5 matchup in the Western Conference, Los Angeles Lakers versus Houston Rockets, going into Game 1, I gotta be honest, this didn't even feel competitive at first glance. Because with LeBron James and Austin Reeves both out, LA's 2 biggest offensive engines were basically missing from the series. So on paper, Houston should have been able to run through this matchup in 5, maybe 6 games max. But hold up, right before Game 1, everything flips. News breaks that Kevin Durant is suddenly ruled out with a mystery situation after a knee bump, and he's listed as unable to go. And just like that, Game 1 turns from a no-discussion series into something completely different.
Kevin Durant was apparently going after a loose ball at practice on Wednesday, and he bumped knees with a teammate.
Listen to this. When it comes to KD's so-called injury in Game 1, pay attention. Do I think he was actually banged up, maybe even a bit hurt? Yeah, I actually do. But again, when you zoom out on this matchup, here's what I believe Houston was thinking heading into Game 1 with KD already looking somewhat hobbled. They were looking at the Lakers being extremely undermanned and thinking KD could put up and try to play in Game 1, but it just wasn't worth the risk. We should still be able to beat LA even if he doesn't play. That mindset in Game 1 ended up giving LA a ton of hope, and of course Houston went on to lose that game embarrassingly. So going into Game 2 with KD coming back, you'd think the worst case scenario is a 1-1 split. We still did what we were supposed to do. Well, bad news for Rockets fans, that's not how it played out either. In Game 3, the trio of LeBron, Kennard, and Smart combined for 75 points. And when you look at the final score, even though it looked close on paper, LA was in control for most of the game. And speaking of being in the driver's seat, let's talk about Kevin Durant. I mean, this guy is once again stuck in what feels like an endless playoff doom loop of failures, miscues, and questions about whether he can truly drive his team.
Durant operates over 8. More from him tonight. Durant.
Hold up. Stopping that level of collapse right there in the second half of Game 2 was basically a full-on no-show, because in total, they only had 1 made field goal once the game was already slipping completely out of reach for the so-called greatest scorer of all time. This simply can't be the standard, because the so-called demigod Kevin Durant in that second half went just 1 for 5 from the field, couldn't get anything going from deep, split a pair of free throws, and still piled up 5 turnovers in a stretch that completely unraveled what was left of the game.
5 on the shot clock, Durant. Jackson Hayes got a piece, starts the break for the Lakers, the lob. Durant had 5 shots in that first quarter, only 4 more since. The double on Durant, taken away by Smart. 6 of 19 in Game 1. Turnover. Durant looking for help. Şengün.
As someone who's not exactly a huge Kevin Durant fan, you could easily watch that game and call what I'm saying confirmation bias. And honestly, I get that perspective. But still, when you look at the growing sample size across the 2020s and these KD playoff runs, it starts to pile up. What we keep seeing again and again in this post-Steph Curry era is that Durant is a lethal weapon in a championship system. What he doesn't really look like, though, is the guy sitting in the driver's seat who elevates everyone around him to a title-level standard. And just to remind everybody, this Rockets roster coming into the season had real championship expectations, not just a finals appearance, but winning it all. Looking back at that Phoenix deal, Houston moves off Brooks and Green in theory to slot KD in as the final piece, the cherry on top of a title run. But what actually shows up is a team with just a couple extra wins, a worse standing, shaky chemistry, and the real threat of a first-round exit with Durant. The common thread over the last decade keeps showing itself. Yes, we all know the playoff disappointments, that part is obvious, but when you zoom in on chemistry and leadership, this is a player who repeatedly leaves teams fractured and searching for identity. Now, again, Houston's roster overall is not some perfect machine. Offensively, they're clearly still limited in a lot of areas, but when you isolate Durant's role, the idea was simple. You swap out Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green and insert Kevin Durant, an automatic bucket. For Rockets fans, KD was supposed to be the solution to everything wrong with the team. In reality, he ends up looking like the problem that didn't actually fix any of those questions. And in Game 2, you saw it over and over again. Anytime KD gets hit with even a soft double team or extra attention, he starts to rush, he tightens up, and suddenly the decision-making just isn't there. Of course, when you look at the full Game 2 picture, he finishes with 9 turnovers. And those second-half turnovers, they were just brutal to watch. A lot of those mistakes weren't even forced, they were giveaways. Because when you compare him to guys like LeBron James or Steph Curry, KD is more of a specialized weapon, similar in usage to a Kawhi Leonard-type role. And here's the crazy part. Go back just a month earlier, Lakers versus Houston with Luka Doncic in the mix. It was the same problem again. Durant facing pressure, getting doubled, and having no real answers when defenses load up on him.
I just feel like it just makes it stagnant. When I come across half and then, they wait on me to drive, but I know they come in a double, so I wait a split second. I just think the whole process is too slow, and I just think that it's all on me because the team, when they see me, it just feel like 1-on-5, to be honest.
Now look at the Lakers' defensive game plan. Some people are giving Reich a ton of credit, like he's some defensive mastermind who completely cracked the code on Durant against the Rockets. That's the narrative you'll hear everywhere. But for me, listen to this, I really don't see it that way at all. Just look at these double teams. Nothing special, nothing complex. What it honestly reminds me of is a middle school AAU game where one team is just faster, hungrier, and the other side has absolutely no answers. And again, when you watch Durant right here get this flustered and overwhelmed, it turns into sloppy passes and straight up low IQ decision making. And for all of LeBron's flaws, one thing he would not do in that same situation is throw those kinds of passes, or at the very least, not repeat them over and over and over again. What this really comes down to with Kevin Durant is that offensively, he's an elite weapon, an all-time level scorer who can elevate a system, but not someone who consistently makes everybody else better. He really just doesn't do that part. And think back for a second to your own basketball experience. When you're under heavy pressure, full court press, half court traps, whatever it is, what does the leader of the team usually do? What does the coach or the floor general do in that moment? They calm everything down and rally the group. But with Durant, time and time again, Brooklyn, Phoenix, and now Houston, when the pressure doubles come, he tightens up, panics, and the possession falls apart.
Have been a part of. Here's Durant, doubled immediately by James. He's seen this often for this Houston team.
A couple fouls he didn't agree with necessarily. That was a big shot for him.
16 points so far. Working against Reeves. Double comes from James. He took it away. The easy money sniper. Bring 2 to the ball. He just stepped on that mid-court.
If you're a diehard Rockets fan or someone still firmly in the pro KD camp, the easiest escape hatch for an early playoff exit would be saying, look, he's 37, he's past his prime. And for most series, honestly, that argument would hold up and feel pretty fair. But when you actually break down this matchup, you just can't hide behind that excuse this time. And that's really the takeaway from everything we just watched. Let me restate something I said earlier because it matters here. When you compare LeBron and KD in this moment, the contexts are completely different. On one side, the Lakers are short-handed and LeBron's legacy is already cemented. There's no pressure shaking that foundation anymore. On the other side, KD's legacy is still being written, and even though it's secure in some ways, he still has time to silence the doubts and win another title. But losing this kind of series in Houston, that doesn't help him. It does the exact opposite and only makes the criticism louder. It feeds right back into the anti-KD narrative and reinforces what critics have been saying for years, that Durant is an all-time offensive weapon, no question about it. But what he continues to fall short on is being the true leader, the guy who actually drives the bus when everything gets tight. And as always, I appreciate you watching. Until next time.